Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week I am getting back to work on the 2021 Acura RDX. It's my wife's vehicle, so you don't see it a whole lot, but some of the most of the items that I'm going to be going over are pretty much simple maintenance items as they pop up, but I figure it'll help you out if you get these same codes. I can walk you through what needs to be done on the vehicle. So she was driving along the other day and the maintenance minder popped up with B127. I'm going to go grab the maintenance book and I can walk you through what all of these individual things mean, decode them down and walk you through the process of taking care of all the work. And here you can see the actual maintenance book that came with the car, so you can kind of track everything you're doing. And it's pretty straightforward. It tells you everything, the numbers and letters all mean something. So, we got a B, so that's going to be replace the oil, filter, do all the inspection stuff, make sure everything looks good. And then we also have the 1, which is rotate tires, 2, which is replace air filter and cabin filter and inspect the belt. And then 7, which is replace brake fluid, which with them, that is, do a full bleed flush setup. So a lot of work on this one. It's not terrible, but it is definitely, a decent amount of stuff to get done. So I went ahead, ordered all the parts. I've got a Wix oil filter, Purolator, Max Cal, cabin air filter, and then a Wix air cleaner for the engine. I've got my jug of Valvoline 0W20 Restore and Protect Synthetic. And then I also, with every oil change, run Lucas Injector Cleaner, Fuel System Cleaner. Just little something to, help keep things in check. So car's here. I'm going to start loosening wheel lugs, get it up in the air, and then get to work on doing the tire rotation, brake bleed, oil change, and all that fun stuff. And working on getting this thing in the air. And just to let you know, pretty easy with these. On the front, in the basically where the core support is, there's a reinforced plate. That is your front jacking point, so you can go off of there. And then when you come around to the sides where your jack stands, you'll see a reinforced portion of the pinch weld, both front and rear, and that is a good spot to put your jack stands to hold the thing up. So front's done, and now I need to get the rear up in the air. And one other thing I'm going to note real quick is before going to the back and lifting the back, I did remove the front tires once it's on jack stand, just because there is so much body flex and suspension travel that unless you're lifting this thing way in the air, when you lift the back, the front's maybe back on the ground and cause you issues trying to get the tires off. So just a little tip there. So now I'm going to go to the back and lift this thing up. All right, and for the back, there's a reinforced jacking point between the spare tire and the rear cross member that sticks down that you can get a jack under the center of, and then same thing on each side for the jack stands. You have the double enforced lips on the pinch weld. So got everything where I want it, so I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling the rear wheels off. And as you can see, all wheels are off and we are on jack stands, so now it is time to start. First thing I'm going to do with this is the brake fluid, because that is probably the biggest pain in the butt of everything. Plus, my wife was just driving around, so I want to let the oil cool down a little bit. So I'm going to pop the hood, make sure I have the right adapter for my pressure canister that I use to pressurize the brake system. If I don't have that, then it's going to be doing it the manual way of the pump and hold. So let me see what I got as far as tools go and the right tools for this vehicle, and I'll be right back. Under the hood, and yeah, I do not have that size cap. That's a pretty big cap, so I'm probably going to have to do the pump and hold method. I do have a Mighty Vac, so I might see if I can get that to work. It's hit or miss with ABS vehicles. Sometimes it pulls good, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll get back to the passenger rear with my Mighty Vac, see if I can start getting any flow. If not, then I will have to grab my wife and do the pump and hold method. So starting at the passenger rear, because you're basically going to want to work from your farthest to the closest. So it'll be passenger rear, passenger front, driver front, the order that you're going to go. So what I'm going to do is while I'm back here as part of the normal inspection, just check out all my bushings, tie rod ends, sway bar ends, look at the thickness of the rotors. Rotors all look good, not feeling anything on either side. Look at the pads, those look good. There's well over half-life still on the pads. If you look at them, it's hard to see. So next is going to be doing the actual bleeding of the brakes. So you can see I've got everything hooked up. I've got a Mighty Vac, reservoir, everything, It's a 10mm box wrench for the bleed valve. So what I'm going to do is open it up, put pressure on it, and see if I can start sucking fluid through. I'll go for a little while, then I'll go check the reservoir, see how it's looking, and keep doing that until I start pulling clear fluid through the rear caliper on this side, and then I will move over to the passenger or the driver rear, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna get to work, see how things go, and I'll be back. All right, about 20 minutes later, and brakes are done. I did have to enlist my wife to help because it was just taking forever to try and suck the fluid through with the Mighty Vac. Much easier doing the two-person pump and hold. So here is the fluid that came out. Definitely a little dark. So replaced it with Valvoline synthetic .3 and 4 brake fluid. That's what this takes, is .3 and 4, and I love this Valvoline stuff. It's got, pretty good heat characteristics and whatnot for being a non.5 fluid or non-race fluid. Way cheaper than buying race fluid, and it's holds up pretty well. So that is now in the reservoir. It is all topped off and ready to go with clean fluid to the max mark right there. All right, now that the brakes are bled and I've gone through all my inspections in the four corners, it's gonna be time to rotate the tires. Before I do that, I'm gonna crawl underneath, remove the belly pan, and start draining the oil, just because that's gonna take a little while. And then it'll be time to put the tires in place. As far as the rotation goes, the ones that were in the front go straight back. So passenger front will go to passenger rear, and then the rears go diagonally across to the front. So passenger rear will become driver front. Pretty straightforward. And then vice versa, driver rear will become passenger front. So pretty easy. I'm gonna go ahead, crawl under there, start draining the oil, and then start getting tires put back in place and get them tightened up, and then move on from there. So I'll be back in a little bit. All right, under the front end, and to remove or do the oil, you need to pull this pan off, which if you use a flathead, there's just these quick turn fasteners. You loosen them up, there's a couple of them, it'll drop down, and then there's like a little tab in the back there that it needs to slide back and off of, and then that pan will come off. All right, 4 fasteners removed, and that allows you to remove the pan. And pretty straightforward, drain the oil. It says engine oil right here on the pan, plug there. And then once you do that, you've got your filter right here. So get those removed, get everything drained, put back in place, and then it'll be time to fill with oil. All right, oil is drained. It's a 17 mil socket, just for future reference. And then I pulled the filter off. I just use like one of those clamp filter tools. Be prepared, it's gonna make a mess, stuff splashes, be careful. So now I've grabbed the new filter, which I'm a Wix guy, that's what I'm using. That's the part number for the correct Wix filter. I'm gonna pre-fill it about halfway, because it does go in at an angle, so you don't wanna fill it all the way, but put a little bit of this 0W20 in it, about halfway full. Then I'll go ahead and put this on. I'm gonna torque the drain bolt to 30 foot-pounds, and then everything will be ready to put back together on the underside as far as putting the tray back or the shield back in. I did roll around underneath and did a quick just once over, make sure nothing looked crazy. Everything looks good underneath the vehicle, no signs of leaks. Everything looks like it's functioning as is. So I'm gonna go ahead, get some oil in this filter, get the filter reinstalled, and the shield put back in place. All right, back under the car, filter is half full. Make sure you put some oil around the rubber O-ring at the top, and make sure the old O-ring is not stuck on the housing down there. So I'm gonna wipe that off real quick, and then I'll put the new filter on, and then again grab my torque wrench, and I'm gonna go ahead and torque that drain bolt to 30 foot-pounds. For reference, this is the tool that I used to remove the filter. It's kind of nice. You put a socket in it, it clamps down, and it's got a really nice good hold for those smaller oil filters when you have this type of access. So works pretty good. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get everything buttoned up down here, and then I'll be back. And everything's buttoned up. When you're putting this pan on, make sure you get all, I start from the back and work my way forward as far as these fasteners go, and make sure that they are all the way in. Give it a couple taps, make sure none of them fall back out. So yeah, we are all done down here. I just need to go ahead, put the front tires on, and then I can put the front end down. One thing I did notice, first oil change I've done in this garage since I had the floor replaced with this new floor. This new floor definitely makes it difficult to find the spots where oil splashes to because it blends right in. So one downside, but I mean, it is oil resistant, so that's a plus. But yeah, definitely took a little searching to find all the oil splashes, where all that black oil was after it drained. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the front wheels on, get this thing back on the ground. And back on the ground, wheels are torqued to 80 foot-pounds at all four corners, so good to go there. So now it is time to get back under the hood and start topping everything off. I need to fill it back with oil, and then it is going to be time to start changing filters. I need to change the air filter and the cabin air filter once the oil change is done. I just added all of the oil, pretty straightforward. Oil cap, use a funnel, or else you're gonna make a mess unless you got really good aim. Me, not worth it. Pull the dipstick and checked it. It's full on the dipstick. I haven't started it yet, so it'll most likely go down ever so slightly. I think it's supposed to take like 5.1 quarts or something like that. It's ever so slightly off. I have normally a spare quart laying around I use for topping off. I think I see it over there on top of my cabinet, so I'll probably top it off once I start it and double check it, but keep that in mind. Next on the list is going to be doing the air filter. Okay, air filter time. So I'm going to be replacing it with a Wix factory style replacement. That's the part number. Not as easy as other vehicles, but not too bad. First thing you need to do is this here, pull up on it. There's two snaps. They'll just pop out. You can see like the little clip retainer there. You need probably about two of them to get it as high up as you're going to need it to move. And then over here, you'll see I've already actually kind of disassembled this. There's going to be a pop clip in this hole there holding this scoop in place. It is this clip. Just use a flathead under one of the 4 spots, pop it out, it'll come out, and then you can lift up on the front of this duct, and then it'll slowly walk off of the box there. It is just rubber, and it's just kind of popped on. Once that's done, you move it out of the way, and you have access to your air box. There are 4 8mm screws in the corners that you need to loosen. I used an 8mm socket. They've got a Phillips head, but they're pretty tight. I used the socket, be easier, and then you should be able to lift the lid up and slowly work out the filter and put the new filter in. I'm going to do that once I have both hands. Here's the old filter, as you can see it. So I'm going to walk that out, put the new filter in, and I'll be right back. All right, and here it is. You just kind of walk it around some of the wiring. You can get it up high enough where you can pull the filter out. Here is the old Acura filter. This looks to be an original. Definitely dirty. Not the worst I've ever seen, but definitely seen better days. So pull this out, throw it away, in will go my new Wix filter. And you can see the new filter is in place. And also note, there's a notch on the end of the filter. I'm pointing to it right there. That goes to the driver's side, right near the duct, because you'll see there's this little spot for it right here in the lid that goes over it. So make sure you have the filter in there correct. That is the orientation. Filter reinstalled, all the 8mm are tight. You can see I've got the duct pop back into place and the clip back in place where it goes right there. And it's just a matter of pushing down on the cowl filler piece. That is all good. And that is job done as far as the air cleaner replacement goes. All right, last on the list is the cabin air filter, and this is what I'm using, Purelator Boss. It's like the highest quality one that I found at Rock Auto, and seemed the price wasn't bad in comparison to others. So pretty straightforward. You go in your glove box right here. If you have this tray that's like there, just pull back, it comes right out, and then you just need to remove this cover plate by sticking your finger in the little holes and popping. And there you go. And that is where the filter is. So there's going to be a little tab on the side here. Push to the side, pull back. Same with this side. Push, pull back, and that cover comes off, and there is the filter. And boo, it looks like it's filthy. So just grab a hold of it and yank. And voila, there is your disgusting cabin air filter. Ugh. So I'm gonna grab the new one and get it installed. And here's the new filter. And it will be marked on one of the sides or the front or back which way the airflow goes. So you want airflow down, because this is the one that I pulled out, and this is the exact orientation it came out in, and there it is marked airflow down on the side. So yeah, that's the original. If that's marked, the date is 21. So original air filter. So we're gonna go ahead, same thing, put it in with the airflow down off to the left side. Just come back and slide it right on in, like so. And then it's just gonna be a matter of putting on the cover plates, which I'm gonna do right now when I have two hands. All right, first cover plate is on and is marked up, so you can't really mess up the orientation. There's also a couple pins on the bottom that you need to line up. I basically just put in the one side and I actually pushed the tab into place, and then pushed the tab into place on this side, and everything is where it's supposed to be. So then it's just gonna be grabbing the other cover plate, like so, and popping it into place. And real quick with this, it doesn't say up on it anywhere. And looking at it from one side, you can kind of see that notch right there goes in the lower left corner. But either way, the three tabs, this is the top because it folds kind of up and under, and then here's the snaps along the bottom, and that's where it snaps in. So it's going to go in, tuck, up, push, and that will be your driver's lower corner. And there it is, cover plate back in, as well as I put the shelf back in place, and that is cabin air filter done. All right, and the last item on the to-do list for this inspection is just taking a look at the drive belt, making sure it looks okay. And looking at it, I don't see any signs of cracking or anything like that. So the serpentine belt looks good. I mean, the vehicle only has like 25,000 miles on it, so not unexpected. But yeah, you just want to look in, where the ribs are way down there. It's hard to see. It won't focus in on them, no matter what I do. But you want to make sure you don't see any like cracks or anything like that. But it all looks pretty good to me. Next on the list, just did a walk around, checked tire pressures. All 4 tires are at 33 PSI, which is where they're supposed to be. So good to go there. So next on the list is going to be getting cleaned up. Go take it for a quick test drive around the block, make sure everything's good with the brakes and whatnot. And then when it gets back, I'll go ahead, let it cool down a little bit, check the oil, make sure everything's good there. And that will wrap this up. Other thing is, I'm going to stick this in the center console for my wife next time she fills it up with gas, put some of this in there. And yeah, that will be the B127 tune-up for the RDX. I'm going to go get cleaned up and take it for a test drive. And next on the list is going to be resetting the maintenance light and warning. So what you do is turn the car to on without starting the engine. So press the button twice without holding the brake. And then using your little scroll to maintenance, hold it for a little bit, and you should get the option to reset. There we go. So we want to reset all due items. So push it one more time while it's on all due items. If you only did part of it, you can, just do part of it, but I want all due items reset. And now all of them reset, and the maintenance says oil life remaining 100%. Good to go there as far as all of that information goes. So all set on that. Now I'm going to go take the vehicle for a drive and make sure all is good. And back from the test drive, everything functioned like it should. Brakes are nice and solid, so all good there. Very happy with the results. Made sure that my little logbook is all updated now. Got my notes on what I put in it, mileage, all that fun stuff. So we are good to go as far as the B127 service is, or as far as that service goes. Only thing I'll do is probably let it sit for a couple hours, then check the oil one more time, see if I need to top it off. But other than that, it is all done. So if you like what you're seeing, you want to follow along, please hit like, please hit subscribe, please hit the notification bell. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. I do review them. I will reply. You're not going to see a whole lot on this car, but I will try and keep doing the maintenance stuff on it. But primarily this channel is going to have my MR2, my Cobra, my Jeep, which is outside, and then any other little projects that I decide to mess around with or get dumped on my lap. So I do have a second YouTube channel, though, devoted to firearm content. If you're interested, please check it out. There's a link in the description of the video. Also have a Rumble channel where I'm posting firearm content as well. If you're on Rumble, appreciate it if you follow me there. Link in the description as well. Have some merch I am selling in my Fourth Wall store. Link in this video description. Plus, you'll probably see some of the items below the video. That being said, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.